What's up, Bradley Zimmer? Brad Zimmer, actually, but I just like calling you Bradley for some reason. Welcome to Brokers and Brews, man. How are you?
Good, you? Good. Thanks
Good.
for having me on.
Absolutely. So before we really get started, we always got to know what we brought. So what'd you bring for their brew?
No, nothing exciting because I don't drink, but I'm just gonna have some water.
That's right. I recall that.
Because I am thirsty today.
We met one time, even at a Starbucks. You're like, I don't even drink coffee. I'm like, okay. So that's not a problem. I brought an Oberon. So cheers.
Yeah, I'm in aviation, so it's hard to have any drinks anywhere because it's like you can only have it every 12 hours. So it's like, well, okay. So I just never got into it.
Yeah, no, it's I'm in real estate, so I got into it. when I got my license and my first office that I worked at, we were a couple blocks away from a Starbucks, and we were close to all those cool places in downtown Plymouth. And my wife's like, "Are you gonna just spend the money, or are you gonna make some money?" So that's just it's the fun part. One of the fun parts about doing what we do is we're social bodies, and we generally get to meet at some fun places. Whether you drink or not, it doesn't really matter. There's lots of good food, lots of good coffee bars out there, and you really start to see like I hate to say mom and pop shops, but when you compare it to Applebee's or TGI Fridays or Buffalo,
Yeah.
they are mom and pop shops because they're not billion-dollar corporations. So so you get to see all those places. It's really fun. So it's just an added bonus.
Yep. Definitely makes it entertaining. That's like the aviation. We pretty much in aviation, it's like where have you flown? Have you gone lunch have you flown to Boston to go to lunch yet?
Yeah. So I mean, obviously we know each other courtesy of your real estate photography business through Windowstill, but yeah, I knew your background started in aviation. So I guess what got you into aviation, and then how did aviation lead you into doing a killer job with videography and photography on real estate?
Yeah, let's see here. It started when I was younger. I actually went to the first thing it started with is actually I went to, I think it was the Kalamazoo Air Zoo, and they had all I learned about, because there was an air traffic controller that I knew, and that's all I knew. And I was like, I just want to be an air traffic controller because I didn't know anything else when I was like really young. So I was like, oh, that sounds so cool. I'll do that. And then all of a sudden, I was like, later on, I was like, wait, I don't want to be the little dot on the screen that goes around on the little screen. I want to be the dot on the screen. Right. So instead of being the controller. So then I just went to school for it, and then got all my license, got all the private pilot, commercial instrument, flight instructor, ATP, pretty much all the ratings that you can get for aviation. And then I used to flight instruct and actually help grow a business that turned out to be really well. And then I started flying for contracted for UPS, and I flew to the UP a lot. So what I learned is there's a lot of stuff for sale in the UP, and there's not other very many things that survive up there. And I was like, let's see how we can take advantage of this and turn this into a business. And I was like, well, how about I just be the middle person? And I also went to school for photography as well. And I was like, well, I didn't really like taking pictures of people. I like taking pictures of buildings instead. They don't complain as much.
No, so they never not smile or blink.
Yep. Oh, I'm standing funny. So I mean, we got plenty of photographers that do that as well. But that's just how it started. And then I just kind of pretty much figured out how to build the business. And then I just really liked the business side of stuff. Like actually, the flight school that I taught at was actually like a higher end flight school. So we got a lot of people that with a lot of money that showed up there, and a lot of people that were successful. So I learned a lot from them. So while they were learning from me, learning how to fly, I was over there bugging them, trying to figure out how to run a business.
Yeah, the entrepreneurial part of it.
Yeah.
So did you flew for UPS? Did you ever fly any other commercial?
No. Pretty much the biggest thing is like being home. So that's like the biggest thing in aviation is like you don't get to go home. So like unless you do something like that like scheduled, then you can go home all the time. So that's where like we're home every day, so it was nice. Where other times like, you might be stuck in a hotel for like a couple of days.
Sure.
So, or you might be going from a hotel to hotel to hotel every night, where it's like, no, it's so most of the people that do like the UPS stuff or the stuff that's more scheduled, there's more people that just want to have a family as well. So
Yeah.
that's kind of how that started. And we all like to just the set schedule versus going all over the place. Of course, when you start, you're like, hey, I'll go all over the place, but
Sure.
Later on, you're just like, hey, I like a set schedule instead.
Yeah. And so I know that you still do some flying now. Is it for fun, or do people hire you for flying?
So actually, I still fly the jet for the University of Michigan. So that's pretty much I call that my side job because we don't do very much there. We don't fly that often, so pretty much I'm able to pretty much run their business and do everything we need to. And then yeah, so but I keep it because I get my fix of flying in, so I still get my flying in here every couple of weeks, and then I feel pretty good because I got my fix in. Then I'm like, okay, I'm back on to something else now.
Yeah. And is it just airplanes, or do you do helicopters too?
No helicopters. So just airplanes.
Just so I know, when I decide about go private, which one I should buy and reach out to you. I don't want to buy helicopters.
Hey, if you want the helicopter, you can. I mean, we know some people with some helicopters. So
there's another guy in Plymouth, right? I know his name, but
yep. So do I.
He's actually really good friends with a few other realtors too. So
yep. Yeah.
So, anyways, but obviously, that somehow, like you said, you were running that business. You want to run a business. How'd you decide that real estate photography was the way for you? And like, when did it really kick in? Like, holy crap, I'm actually doing this, because you're pretty busy.
Yeah. So we pretty much when we started, I think it was 2015 is when we started, and we kind of started the business, and we actually didn't really know exactly we were going to go right into real estate photography. We knew we were going to do something in photography, but then we just realized that the scalability of the real estate is much easier than trying to do portraits and stuff like that, because it's easier to scale the real estate photography side of it. So and also just the fact that we just like taking pictures of buildings instead of people. So that was pretty much our main thing. And I knew I wanted to create some kind of business. So we're just like, you know what, let's try this. We'll start into this. And then we started, we had like our first month, we were like, we did like the worst things possible, that we didn't have a clue what we were doing. And we are just like, all the mistakes ran right up the first month. And then all of a sudden that was like Thanksgiving, like the day after Thanksgiving. So we're like, and how the real estate market is, like between Thanksgiving and Christmas, there's not very much. So we didn't have a clue what we're doing. So, but then January 1st came, and all of a sudden we got like several photo shoots that week, and we're like, holy smokes, like we didn't get anything all of December, and all of a sudden January hits, and all of a sudden it's like, whoa. And then like a couple months later, we hired our first person, and then we've been hiring people pretty much every year since. So it's worked out pretty good.
And and so you've grown, obviously.
Yep.
I mean, first of all, I'm in South Lyon, and you're like not even really that. You're personally not really that close to me, right? Like, aren't you still another?
Yeah, I'm in Eaton Rapids right now, so which is south of Lansing, which is in between Jackson and Lansing.
So like, how did you decide to? How do you decide to expand? Because you really start venturing out. I mean, to do real estate photography, it's got to be tough to just naturally, pick your zones, or not pick them or whatever.
Yeah. So when we started in Lansing, and everything. When we started getting traction in Lansing, and of course we weren't like we went by the quality. So in Lansing, the market's a lot different than it is over in Detroit, where it's a lot harder. I mean, it's not really harder, but you have to do more work. So really, we had to teach a lot of people over here. So then we started. So when we decided to open another location, pretty much over in Detroit direction,
Mm-hmm.
we let's see, probably we started, like I remember starting to get photo shoots over there, and all of a sudden we got probably in Brighton. We probably got it was like a handful of photo shoots, and we're like, we gotta open a location. So all of a sudden, we're like, in like literally like right when I like that same week, I think we got somebody that scheduled like 30 some shoots for us like within a week, like 30 some from one person. It wasn't an agent, but it was just like a commercial job, and we were like, holy crap, we can figure this out. So we decided to we started out in Brighton, and then like once we started in Brighton and like started going the Detroit direction, it grew so fast because everyone in Detroit already knows the benefit of it. Everyone in Lansing doesn't. Like, we had to teach them. We had to teach them for like a long time. So it was like once you started in Brighton and started going toward the Detroit direction, it was like just like a rocket ship. It was like it grew like as fast as much of business as we pretty much did per month in Lansing was like ready to go in Brighton once we started. It was crazy. So
Yeah, I remember actually. Now that you say that, I won't say your original website, but your original website when I started using you a couple years ago, and you had on there like what area are you in, Brighton,
oh
Plymouth,
yeah.
something else. So that makes a lot of sense now, and like in this conversation. And so, I only asked you one, question because I wasn't sure, and you started to answer it. You- I go, are you just in Michigan? You said, no, we're in Ohio and Pennsylvania. Oh, and somewhere else, and somewhere else. And we're thinking about like tell me about that. I mean, expansion into other states for real estate photography sounds almost crazy. Um,
Yeah. So it takes the right person. It takes the right person when we pretty much built an entire training course. So in that training course is pretty much the part that actually make this whole entire thing scalable, because we have a training process that we can just run people through, and they're just ready to go. And by the time they come out the other end, they're like, I know how to get business. I know how to do all the services I need to. I know pretty much what I need to know about the real estate market, and then like what you guys are looking for. So once we started our Pennsylvania one, was our first one out of state, and that one's turned out pretty good now. It was a slow start because like a whole learning process when we're just like, holy crap, I can't just get in the car and go drive over there and fix that. So,
that was my thought. Was um, to be able to control. To be able
yeah,
to reach in and lend a hand, so to speak. You can't do when they're 6 hours away.
yeah, yeah. So it's the right person. Like when you get the right person, like we have a couple like in Ohio and like just like the Toledo location, we have a really good person there that this man, he really takes good care of like that area, and there's nothing ever to worry about. It's like if there's a problem, it's already just handled. It's like, wow. It's like once you find the right people, like what, like when you find your right assistant or something like that, all of a sudden it's like, holy crap, I really figured out like this helps me a lot, and I'm glad I hired this
Yeah.
person. So
So are you franchising, or is everyone operating under you right now? Not under.
yeah, that's what we have it set up as. Like maybe down the road we'll change it up, but right now that's what it's set up as, and we pretty much set up like each location pretty much that we like have like a pretty much one person that kind of manages the whole area, and then that person gets like they get more income by how well the business does over there. So
Sure.
it's not really set up as a franchise, but it's like there's a lot of things that are similar.
Yeah, well, that's probably good, and especially if you do decide to do something different, it's not a drastic change. So,
Yep.
and you can show also that it actually works. So, all right, now let's kind of like get down into it. You have staff, and then one day you're told that in Pennsylvania was actually before us that real estate can't really
Oh,
exist the normal way. And suddenly you've probably got, I don't know how many people saying, hey, what are we going to do for work? And
yeah.
I mean, like, what was that adventure like?
Well, let's go back to day one.
Sure.
Day one of when this all happened, I was at a commercial shoot, and we knew that was the day she was going to determine what was going on. But I didn't know that when I scheduled the photo shoot. And
Yeah.
this was actually the first day that I hired pretty much our operations specialist in the office. It was the first day we hired her. So her first day on the job, she's with me at the photo shoots, learning the whole process, and everything gets shut down.
And so
So
we're
I'm like,
talking about Michigan right now, right?
yeah, just Michigan. Actually, Pennsylvania was shut down like the week before that or something, I think.
Yeah. They were.
And that one, I mean, it was like it didn't hit me at all yet because Michigan's our busiest, and it didn't hit me at all until like that next day after ours in Michigan, because like the first, like in Michigan, like when it happened, I got so many phone calls, and we went and did so many photo shoots all the way till as late as we could possibly go for that week, just to get as many in as we could possibly get in. Like we called, like everyone called us, hey, can you go do it right now? And we booked solid is the whole day just out taking, like we're just out taking exterior photo, whatever we can do before the end of the day. And and then after that, it was just like, boom, end. It's crazy.
Yeah, well, you actually, I mean, we didn't do it for that reason. That was the timing that we were planning on listing a home, and you guys shot for us. And it really come in handy because of the fact that, I always do video. And it's funny, I kind of started getting away from the Matterport tour, and I just happened to say, let's do one on this house. And here we are. Now I have YouTube video and, so a YouTube walkthrough and the Matterport tour, which, that way, because I think everybody likes a different look. Having both is, really beneficial. And I mean, now there's still people that would rather do a virtual tour. They don't want to go into a house right now, especially if they don't know if they like it.
Yeah.
So it really just came in handy that I just coincidentally asked you to do both of those, photography and drone and all that stuff. But like I said, I mean, I wasn't doing it in preparation. However, I absolutely was preparing because I knew what happened in Pennsylvania. I knew what happened in some other states. And I just really, I looked at the what was going on with our market and how busy it was, and actually why that would be bad when you're looking at numbers of cases and deaths and things like that. And that particular weekend, so that announcement was made and we got shut down on the 23rd. That weekend, I remember there being 406 open houses in our MLS. That's a lot of open houses. And I reached out to a few agents that were doing them that I knew, and I said, so what are you doing? And they all had a good plan. They all said, well, I'll only allow one couple or group or whatever you are together at a time, and then sanitizer on the way out or on the way in and on the way out, things like that. They had some their own protocols, which I thought was good. But at the same time, I've had open houses where I've only had 3 people, but I've certainly had open houses where I have 30 groups of people. So in a 2 or 3 hour window, there's no way to make all those people stand outside. Somewhat defeats the purpose of the open house. So I'm not sure if everyone was able to stick to it. With that being said, I was looking at that saying, I was talking to everybody I could talk to, especially that Friday, saying, I think we're going to get shut down. What do you think? And a lot of people were like, what? Why would that happen? Like, just, I don't know if they were busy or they had their head in the sand or what the deal was, but they were like, they had no idea. And so we get shut down, and here's you. I mean, like, here's me, right? I'm a realtor, so I can't go out and transact, but I can still at least work from home. And as it turned out, I put a few houses under contract during that time. It was slower. It wasn't as easy. It was weird. It's still weird doing business right now, but you couldn't do that. I mean, you can't take virtual photos. So what'd you do? I mean, I know a little bit about what you did.
Well, we had one location that was okay. It was Ohio.
Yeah.
And the guy's name's David. I'm like, David, you're running the whole business. Get going. So other than that, we did a lot of, we decided to, since we've been always like editing homeowners' photos for free and just never offered it, just never posted it publicly. So what we decided to do is we decided to, like, just because we saw people just charging for it and like doing all
Yeah.
this other stuff to do stuff. And we're like, you know what? We've been doing this for free this whole time. Why don't we just tell people we're doing it for free? So we just posted that we were doing the free photo shoots or the free photo editing,
Hmm.
and we just called homeowners and we told them what to take, and then they sent them to us and we edited them, and some of them turned out really good. Like it was like I was ready to hire them. I was like, "What? When do you want to start?"
Yeah.
So it turned out really. That was probably the best. Like that was probably the best move we've ever done in our business. Just publicly saying that we were doing that.
Yeah.
I probably had more photo shoots to edit than like some days I had more photo shoots from homeowners photo shoots to edit than I did like on some of our days of working. It was crazy.
Yeah. So tell me like about that. I mean, hopefully we never have to go back to that for a lot
Yeah.
of reasons. You know, mostly because hopefully things are getting better. But like when I take a photo on my iPhone, I always notice like it says like HEIC dot something. And sometimes I have to even change that to like a JPEG or something like that. So I know a thing or two, right? I can't
Yeah.
imagine what types of files you got reading. Tell me that.
So
Tell,
yeah.
tell me about that.
Well, we set up a website that was just purposely for sending the photos. So our biggest problem was of doing that. So before we posted it publicly that we were doing it, we kept running into the fact that they would send us the photos, but they would also be sent to you. And then, or let's say their kids sent it to their mom, then the mom sent it to you, and then you sent it to me. And every single time it sends somebody, it gets smaller and smaller.
Right.
So every time we do that, it gets smaller. And like we ended up with this like, I mean, like, it was so small we couldn't put it on the MLS
Yeah.
file. So we're like, these things are so pixelated, and we're like, well, we can put a blue sky in there. We can do this, but so that's why we set up the website. We set up the website, and it's just purpose. This whole purpose was just to upload photos to, so a homeowner could just upload their photos, and it worked really well because they had to upload them. They were the biggest size they could possibly be, and then send to us. And like we had, there was one file name that I couldn't figure it out, so it
Yeah.
took me a little while. I did have to YouTube a little bit. So
how many, so like roughly, because of what we had 5 weeks,
I don't even
7 weeks.
know.
How many photos do you think you saw?
Let's just say, well, I don't remember how many photos we did, but I saw so many bad photos. Like they were like, let's just say, because like when we called them, we had a nice little system now. We could set up a Zoom call with them, show them exactly what to do, and those ones turned out good. It was the ones where all of a sudden we just get an email that says, "Hey, can you edit these photos?" And it was like pitch black in the basement or something. I'm like, I can't do anything with that.
Yeah.
So like most of it, like it got to the point where I was looking at the bad photos and I was thinking they were good. And then when we actually went out and took photos, I was like, holy smokes, this is so nice. What are these to edit? They're so nice. But we once we got the system down, it seemed to work pretty well. We're still actually getting some here and there because Pennsylvania, we started offering in Pennsylvania as well. So we're still getting things here and there, but I think they are back to work now, so we're good.
Yeah, I think every state is allowed. I think us and Pennsylvania came back around the same time. Um, there's different rules. Some have none. Some have, like obviously we can't have open houses. Maximum 4 people in a house. I think it's supposed to be 16 and over in a house. I could be wrong. I know that I'm pretty much following that style of rule. I don't really want children in a house. I mean, if they absolutely had to be for some weird reason, but I need to know in advance. And even kids, everyone's got to wear a mask. So if you are bringing a kid, it's got to be, they got to have a mask. So, and so some states have similar rules and stuff. So I think we're all back, but it was definitely a weird time. Did you lose anybody? I mean, anybody that had to didn't come back?
You mean like people wise or?
Yeah, not like
there
like
was
on
one,
Earth, but like from your company.
No, no one. All our companies all back. We didn't actually. No one got sick. No one got it. We were pretty. Like we had during this entire time, we had every single day, it was probably up to like 5 calls. It got to like 5 calls per day that we'd call, and they would beg us to go do photo shoots.
Yeah.
It was so bad that I finally had to make a post. And it was like, come on, guys.
Yeah.
We got, like, come on here. Like, people are calling just to call around to find who was going so they could hire them. It was just like, it was bad. So we just, as a company, we decided, nope, we're going to do our part to help everybody out. And the only way to do that is for us all to stay home. So
Yeah.
it was really hard to tell people no. Like, you ask a question and I always say yes for you. And
Yeah,
then
exactly.
you call me and I got to tell you no.
Yeah. No, I know it's it is tough. I even had I've got a buyer who's having a heck of a time get a house. I mean, they probably could have benefited by the few people that told us that we could go see the home. If I just sent the buyer,
Yeah.
and like, well, no, I can't do that. It's not the rule. And now those folks are trying to buy a house and they're losing to multiple offers because so many people came out, starting on the 7th. And so I thought of you because of that too. Like, I remember your post saying I was not trained for the call volume I'd receive in a 3-hour
Yeah.
frame. So, like, you came back with a vengeance, obviously, but like, how is it now? I mean, like, is it still crazy? Is it like it was? Like, how's business? I mean, my business is great, right? But that's just me and Joe Muck and whatever. But you really are working for, dozens or hundreds of agents at a time. So if your business is booming, then that's because everybody's business is booming,
Yeah. Well, you see this computer over here? There's a new hire.
Yeah.
So let's just say that happened last week because there was, like, the first day we got back, like, the second we got that what's her name says we can go back to work. Like, it was, I was on a live Zoom, like, on Facebook Live that day. It was during the meeting that we were on Facebook Live, and I had people just like bugging me like crazy. Hey, we can go, and I'm trying to finish my Facebook Live.
Yeah.
So, we
I was thinking,
didn't have our scheduler. Also, everyone was all blocked off on the scheduler.
Okay.
So until, like, I had to turn them all back on. So, and after our Facebook Live, it was like, well, all of a sudden I turned it back on, and it was like, I mean, we had 3 of us answering the phone, and we finally just had to say, you only answer phone calls, you answer text, and you answer Facebook messages, and you answer emails. It was crazy. So,
yeah. Well, I knew I had like some stuff coming up, and I almost just put dates on the calendar because I was worried that you were going to book up.
Yeah.
But I didn't need anything in those first few days. I knew mine were coming, just like you guys shot yesterday for me, and then later this month. So I knew that I was probably okay because, you're always busy and you always manage to have some sort. I mean, there's been once or twice where maybe I wanted to do Friday at 1 and I had to do Friday at 3, or I wanted to do Thursday, but we had to do Friday. For the most part, we can get it done. So I wasn't too concerned a few weeks out, but it did cross my mind, and I'm sure some other people thought the same thing. Like, let me just get on that calendar while I can. Yeah,
it was like that first Friday, we were double our busiest day. That's all I know.
Yeah,
it was crazy. Like, we got for the photographers, their busy day is the first day back. My busiest day is the second day because I have to make sure everything's delivered and make sure it's all sent. So that was my busiest day. And since we've gone back, I probably worked like 15 hours a day, like at least 15, like 18 hours a day just to keeping up. But we're, since the new hire showed up here on Saturday, we hired him right away. We started and we're just like, we need somebody to help. Ever since then, it's a lot more under control now. So everything's pretty much back to normal levels. And I mean, pretty much I told the photographers, we skipped past slow season to busy season. We just went right to busy season. It's like, we didn't have no slow uptick to practice.
Yeah. Well, right. Because we missed that window. Like, that should have happened kind of in March, and it didn't. And so we went March, April, and then the opening week of May, and there were people, I had people tell me when, and I mean, I'm no power agent, I mean, I do a decent business and I'm happy and my family's happy and stuff like that. But I'm not doing 150 deals, and I don't want to do 150 deals. And
Yeah.
there are agents that do, and so you know, you do that math, and they must have had that many more of those tell me when phone calls. Um, and so like the reason that I guess the reason that we probably linked up was you actually had a Facebook ad,
Yep.
and so I was like, oh, let me see what this is. And then it dawned on me that you were a company that I knew, somebody else used. So I was
Yep.
like, okay, so now I've got the ad that I was interested in, and I've got like a proof of concept. And I said, well, can you do these YouTube videos? I'm like, I'm friends, and I'm in groups with agents in other states, especially like California and stuff. They all do these videos, and I don't see many here, and I really want to do them. And you said like, yeah, we can do that. And so but you did have an agent you were doing them for. We do them a little bit differently, but similar enough.
Yeah.
And we did. And I should note real quick, my wife liked that upbeat jazzy music from my very first video. I told her I was going to tell you that she wants more jazzy hands. So
Hey, there we go. We just got to let Sam know it'll be done.
there you go. Yeah.
Problem
So
solved.
yeah, tell them.
Yeah, that was a pretty good one. That
We'll
was a
make
pretty
them
good
watch this video so that we get an extra viewer. Um,
Yeah.
and we won't tell him when we talked about it either. He's got to watch the whole damn thing. But,
Yeah.
but anyways, and so, but one of the things that I find from your photos as a company is that they're not embellishing, right? Like you obviously have to touch up a little bit, but you don't change the photo.
Mhm.
And I see companies that do that, and they keep getting hired. So obviously, there's people that like that. How do you decide like that that's not the way you want to go, or it is the way you want to go, or maybe you see another competitor out there, and you're like, what they're doing is silly, or man, I love that. How they figure that out?
Yeah. Let's see. So we pretty much like in the Lansing area, we just pretty much had the highest quality and the most services that pretty much to get stuff figured out there. But we like to figure out like I don't know if it really answers the question, but we like to figure out attention. Attention is like our thing that we really strive to do. So we make sure we can get you the most attention on the listing. So that's what we do. But I guess it didn't really answer the question. But like when we tried to just make sure we follow all the rules we can possibly follow. Like you can't like there's things in the house you can't change. You can't just change things that are not compliant with the MLS. Like we get asked from agents like, "Hey, can you do this? Can you do this?" And we're like, "Well, we can, but like I don't. You're not supposed to."
Right. Yeah, you're like
So
physically I can do it, but no, you can't do it, Mister
yeah,
Agent.
yeah, we don't want to get in trouble for this.
Yeah. Well,
So we figured out we figure out all the limits and we make sure we can keep within those. So
yeah. Well, I mean, that was the next thing. It's like, so I don't even know how to create the proper links for the MLS and stuff like that. I mean, like, do you get to go to a training for how to incorporate your business into the MLS, or you just have to figure it out?
yeah, we figured that out real fast. So we figured this out probably like the first month in. So we sent them the photos, and surprisingly, we sent them the right size, and it worked out fine for like a month. And then we finally just had to call the board and say, "Hey, what's this? What's the standards for the photos?" And
Yeah.
then we got that. It was like 3,000 by 2,000, and then for what is it? Like below 8 megabytes. So I think every person that's ever decided to get into that has run into that same problem. They decided, "Hey, well, we're going to send the maximum files," and then all of a sudden you're like, "Hey, these don't work."
Yeah.
So we had to figure that out. Once we figured that out, like now our system actually auto sets up. Like we work for several different in several different states. Some states have different requirements. Like MLS has different requirements. Like you can have bigger sizes now. So like we have our new system that actually lets you choose the size you want for each agent. So it's nice.
Huh. Yeah, well, I mean, and even here we don't have the same MLS. I mean,
Yep.
even Lansing uses a different one. And then you told me you're really growing quite a bit on the west side of the state. And I guess like maybe that was the question I had earlier, and I didn't ask it. I don't really understand. how you get into a different market. Like, how did somebody on the west side of the state reach out to you, or how did you reach out to somebody on the west side of the state? Like, why did that even happen?
Um, Same thing as you found us. That's pretty much the main. That's pretty much our main way. Like it just the west side of the state's pretty a tough market over there. So we're finally getting some pretty good traction over there. It's really just finding one person. If you just find one agent, that one agent's pretty much like I don't know what you would think about it as, is pretty much that one agent can like bring you tons of business, like referrals. So it's like one client can bring you tons of referrals. But it's
Yeah,
like we just kind of like once we started with one, all of a sudden, like the one we found was like the franchise, like the owner of the franchise of all the franchises. So that's where we started, and that was our first one. It's like holy crap! Well, we found him, so this is going to be good.
yeah, right, yeah,
So he uses us for everything, and that one works out good. I actually had him on one of my Facebook lives the other day. But it's once we got that one, and then we got so Grand Rapids is a little like a lot tougher, but like Kalamazoo side, it's a lot easier over there. And I think pretty much like all the biggest companies, like the biggest photography companies that have anything to do with real estate, like in the country, started in Grand Rapids.
huh.
So there's several of them, and they all started in Grand Rapids.
Why?
I don't know.
Okay,
It's just random. There's three of them, and all three of them started in Grand Rapids.
yeah.
So
So yeah,
we're catching them. We're catching them fast.
well, good.
Yeah.
So yeah, you started like that your Facebook Live thing, and we ended up having like a text conversation because I was like,
Oh yeah.
I'm talking to some people too. So like, is your goal to continue that moving forward? Like, keep talking to business owners and things like that?
Yeah, it's pretty fun. I like doing it, and it's definitely helpful on both sides. So like I like doing it, and then I just like hearing people's stories, kind of like you're doing. So like hearing people's stories, learn things. It's fun. So I
Yeah.
just like doing. I probably need to start doing it. Like I'm trying to do them daily. And last week I just was like, nope, there's none going to happen like last week. I just catch back up first. So
Well, I
but I'm
mean,
going to try doing every day.
I can tell you, obviously when we were like shut down, I was like, okay, this is a great time to build
Yep.
content, right? So I knocked out like 10 interviews or whatever you want to call this in less than 2 weeks. I mean, one day I did three. I did one in the morning, I did back to backs in the evening. So whatever. And then I had the ability to release one, release one, release one, release one. And now it's try to release basically on Tuesdays and Fridays. And
Nice.
it's because just like tonight, right? I was driving home and I go, I'm going to be 2 to 4 minutes late. I don't like being late. I like being on time.
Yeah.
You know? And so I know that I'm going to be busy and I'm not going to have time to dedicate. But I do think that this, is important. Number one, to introduce other businesses, to get other perspectives.
Mhm.
And I look at it, and the reason I feel like any business owner fits Brokers and Brews is because, like, odds are, if I talk to another real estate agent, and I love doing it, and I'm gonna, I try for one every week, but odds are that other agent is also busy because I'm busy, and
Yep.
odds are they're also in multiple offer situations because I'm in them, and odds are, so like
Yep.
we're really kind of kicking it around, and whereas like your business is directly tied to our business, but when I talk to a marketing guy or I talk to a computer guy or a gym guy or whatever, um, those businesses aren't tied. But if they're not busy, then eventually we're not going to be busy.
Mhm.
If business slows down, then we'll slow down because business generates money, you know, jobs. So if there's no jobs
Yep.
and there's no money, then there's no houses to sell unless we're talking foreclosures, and that's not the market any of us
Mhm.
wants to be in. So I think it's valuable, to be able to talk to various people, and I've had some really interesting and good conversation that I'm like, wow, that's not what I thought was going to happen tonight. So
Yep.
uh,
That's awesome.
yeah,
Awesome.
so like, I mean, what's your thoughts? What's your take now that you've seen what you've seen and stuff like that? Like, where does our business go? Do you feel like it stays really busy through the summer? Do you think that we got this influx now, but it's going to slow down? I mean, if you had a crystal ball, what would it tell you?
I think, I mean, my biggest worry is like the unemployment part with like the loans. I know they're going to probably come up with some kind of something with that for like the COVID situation, but I think that one, like, I don't, like, I think it's going to be probably maybe fine for this year, but I think something's going to happen. They just, it's going to slow down a little bit, but I don't know how slow it's going to get. Like, I don't know. I don't think it'll be as, of course, as busy as last year, but and it may. But I think just the lending side, where is maybe the part that is going to be the part that's going to determine it. And if they do figure something out about that, which they may already have figured out, which you probably know more than I do, then I think that'll probably be better. Or then it'll probably be still not as busy as last year, but probably just slightly less.
Yeah. Well, that's exactly my thoughts. I don't know when, but there's no impending crash,
Yeah.
but there's definitely one day going to be some sort of slowdown. I mean, it's just like the economy, it's just like unemployment, it's just like anything. You just can't keep getting better and better and better. You have to eventually hit a certain point, and it might be at like almost maximum, and then you start to kind of dip. But everybody wants to make it seem like you kind of go like this on the way up, and then you go down.
Yep.
Like, no, you can kind of go like this, and then just kind of like level and keep coming
Yeah.
across. Like you don't have to crash.
Yeah.
And I understand it because almost everybody was in a crash, a decade ago. So I realize where the thought comes from, but there's so many factors that went into that just don't exist right now. That if it did happen, it would be for a totally different reason. Let's put it that way. But I do think you're right. Like unemployment numbers, when we see like kind of what the real unemployment really is, when all jobs are allowed to exist and who can come back, who can't come back, who can stay alive, um, who just decides not to, right? There's going to be people that are going to decide, screw it, I'm not coming back to work.
Yeah, they are, because some of them are making more.
Yeah. And so that'll be a big factor. And then, like you said, the loan thing, they have some interesting things available to help so you don't foreclose. But one of them was that forbearance. And I talked to, even on the show, some lenders about forbearance, and obviously if that's what you have to do, it's what you have to do, but it's not the ideal scenario because it really means tack on all your payments into one big lump payment.
Yep.
Odds are you probably can't do that. You never know. Maybe you can. Maybe with stimulus money and unemployment money and your job money, maybe you'll have it. But at one point, only 2% of people took advantage of that. Now I don't know if that's gone up, but a few weeks ago at least, that was 2%. So that was actually pretty good. That meant a lot of people weren't going that option. So I think you're right. I think there's going to be some stuff like that changes and will eventually slow us down. But we're going so fast right now, we almost need to slow down anyways. Like I know other agents are like, like what? But it's the truth. I mean, I went to a flip house tonight that has multiple offers. Today was the first day on market. It's a flip. It needs a roof, walls, flooring, lighting. I mean, it's got $60,000 to $100,000 needed to put into the house. Multiple offers, first day. So that's just our market right now,
Yep.
And so for buyer's sake, it needs to slow down. For seller's sake, let's keep it rolling.
Yeah.
So you stayed busy with all the editing. Did you get to do anything fun? Did you get to do anything like? Did you get to slow down with the family? Did you get to
a little bit? Yeah. Okay. So I did spend a lot more time. Probably a lot more time. Probably the first couple weeks, a lot more time playing with the little one and the wife and doing all sorts of stuff. But once we decided we're going to post publicly that we're going to edit photos for free, yeah, I've been sitting in this chair.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, I think it was a good thing, right? And it was good for our business, which should in turn mean good for your business. And I realize it's not always about business; it's not the only reason to do things. But I mean, I didn't need to utilize that service, but I was explaining to people that we could. if we needed to. And everyone was ready to kind of wait it out. They wanted to wait it out too, because they figured if
Yeah.
it's not safe, then I don't really want people trying to buy my house anyway. So, um,
Yeah.
so yeah, so uh, you know, I kind of forgot what I was going to say to you there, but basically, what's next for Windowstill? Like, what's the next territory? How do you grow? Are you going to try to grow? Are you happy where you're at? I mean, what's the goal? What's the end game?
Um, to have somebody in every state. So we got we have a plan set up that we know what we need to have done each month to complete that. And right now, we still have about 5 more people to hire by the end of the month to get where we need to be. And I keep bugging our hiring manager like crazy, and she's doing pretty good. Like last time I bugged her, she hired like 2 people in the next couple of days. So
Yeah,
she's doing good. And we did. I mean, it's just a matter of finding the right people. We have probably like 500 applicants that we're just sifting through and just checking where we're at. But right now, it's just all the states that touch Michigan will be covered in like the next month or so. Like we have somebody in Wisconsin right now, and we weren't gonna choose Wisconsin first, but we just happened to meet somebody that was gonna. It was perfect, just perfect timing. So he joined us, and then we actually have one of our photographers from Ann Arbor, Chris. I don't know if you met him or not. I don't think he's been on any of yours, but he's now moving to Milwaukee. So between both of them over there, it's going to work out good. So we can just start that location over there and just start it rolling. So, and like just like any kind of business, once you get a system down and like you start a new location, you don't have to spend a year or two trying to figure out how to grow it there. It's like
sure.
you just know all the right things to do, and then it just works. So pretty much all the states touching Michigan, our goal is to cover all those states by the end of the year, and then we have pretty much the next about half the country should be for next year, because pretty much they can just run to our system at that point. So we're just trying to find more people that just find the right people. So
Yeah,
that's pretty much the goal. If anyone knows anybody, that's what we're ready to go.
do you have a link? Do you have a link that you want me to post in the thing when we post this?
I don't have any links yet. Mostly, I just it's anyone that emails us or contacts us. But I've actually been strategically planning out my video outside today of pretty much we're gonna pretty much make it like a landing page and stuff. And
Yeah.
we're gonna go at a different method. We're gonna try a couple different methods at it, because we're gonna try a couple Facebook methods for hiring versus just the Indeed.
Yeah.
So I mean, everyone puts it on Indeed. If you put it on Indeed, you're pretty much got people like fast.
Yeah, Indeed's probably pretty much the new monster, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's like,
You just put it on there, and you'll have like 50 applicants within a couple of days.
crap. So I told you like an hour. Do you have maybe 5 or
Yeah.
10 minutes? Okay.
I got lots of time. I got all the time you want.
I know. As you talked about this, you made me think. If there's one thing I know, it's that you know how to advertise, market, things like that. That's what made you unique for what you do. And you and I met, I don't know, a year and a half ago, and we were setting up messenger bots.
Yeah.
And now people still kind of have like the generic, like, how can I help you bot? But like, what happened to those things, man? Like, I thought they were the future.
Oh, that my website is full of them. I get so many messages today. I probably had like 5 messages almost before 8:15 this morning. There are already people wanting to just gone right to the bot. So
Yeah.
pretty much, I just have it set up a very basic. I don't have this big complicated like back and forth. No, it's like we just use ours for the pricing, and it works really well. So you just click on the link and it sends you the pricing right to your messenger, and then that right there is pretty much our number one sales pitch. People want to just know pricing. So if you run a Facebook ad and just ask people for pricing or click for pricing, and that's pretty much our best way. Like those are the ads we run on the west side of the state. And like but now we can't meet for coffee, but that was my sales pitch.
Yeah.
Meeting for coffee.
But like is because Facebook kind of changed an integration with the ManyChat, which was really probably the biggest third party bot, and really was promoted to be like damn near human. So that's, I guess, part of what my question was, like, that I mean, it still exists. I still get some advertising for it, but I mean, like, kind of where did that go? What made that less popular? It was supposed to get more popular.
I know. I don't know if this is Facebook did change some stuff. Like I know I still get the ones here and there. Like I actually get one every week. It seems like it comes in, just the same one, just to advertise their video. But
Yeah.
they do a live video every week, and they just post it. So, um, but other than just just seeing those ones like that, I know they have switched a lot more where they have a lot more text messages options now through
Mhm.
ManyChat. So they have a lot more text messages. I think they can send emails now. What other? I don't. There's a couple more things that they added on there now to integrate like a whole bunch of different stuff like that. But I just haven't paid attention to it as much. I just got my website set up the way I have it set up, and it works for us, and that's why I just stick with that. And I may start using it more to like advertise our video we do on Friday nights, but
Yeah.
that's probably what we use it for. But
Yeah.
other
I
than
was just
pricing,
curious. I mean, I think, and maybe for something that has a little bit more direct answer for pricing, like I don't, what's my price? Like my price
yeah,
is a
yeah,
commission.
you gotta. So you gotta. Yours would be just be click for pricing on the home.
Yeah.
So like if you did that, if you just didn't put so let's maybe you put everything on there except for the pricing, and then you ran an ad and then click for pricing, and then you just give them the pricing, and then from there you just then you could from there you could probably just start chatting away with them. That would probably be just something to lead them into. It's kind of like the landing page, but you're just send you a messenger. I mean, actually, you can do that through. I don't think you need ManyChat for that. I think you can just do that right through Facebook. They have an option just to click on it, and I think
And
they have that.
that's probably more what it was because definitely when you did it, you had to turn off your Facebook Messenger and add in the other ones. Whether you used ManyChat or somebody else. And I'm sure Facebook didn't like that. Just like they don't like when you post a YouTube video versus a Facebook video. Um,
Yep.
and they totally changed the way that gets seen and how many people, and even if you're paying for it and all that stuff. So I'm sure that there was something along those lines. Um, I just felt like it was so popular for a minute where everything had it, and especially real estate agents were all using it, and maybe that kind of led to some downfall of it, where there were so many people doing the what's your home worth or what's this or what's that, like it was kind of crazy. So
Yeah, I see a lot of like most of the time what I see now like I see a lot of them just put like all like they don't use the mini chat, but they'll use like just like the instant message. Hey, we'll respond back in a little while. Like I see that one all the time, or just an initial message, or I'll see somebody that has mini chat or has chatbot or some kind of chatbot because you have to click I think you have to click get started or something.
yeah.
Message them. So like I can see those ones, so I know what. And then sometimes I just ask them what service they're using. Easy, it's an easy way to chat with them.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
All right. Well, I won't keep you much longer. I'm sure you have some video to edit or
yeah.
or family to see or something like that. I do appreciate you spending some time. Definitely talking photos. Obviously, windowstill.com is the main site. Anything else to plug before we sign off?
Nope. Just yeah, we pretty much covered it all. I mean, unless you guys have anyone that wants to help us start a location in different states, then there we go.
There
But
you go.
other than that, that's pretty much it.
Awesome. Well, Brad, appreciate you joining. I know that you either are empty or you just have water, but it's a going away experience anyways. And have a great rest of your night, man.
Yeah, thanks. You too.